it's nice to be able to, you know, be on land, you know,
Yeah.
or bed. It's been a long.
You look a bit tired, if I may say.
Yeah, it's been a pretty rough trip. Because, you know, I was working right up until I went on the trip, and so I've been flying all over the place and came to London, and then we haven't, you know, had 5 minutes, like literally.
5 minutes in London free.
We haven't had a minute, or just a minute, so, since Sunday.
How come?
Just
Press,
yeah. And last night was our first gig, so that was, you know, after practicing for many months, you know, and then you finally play. It's, you know, it takes a lot of, for me anyway, because I don't like playing live, so it takes a lot out of you. Plus, we played in a bar where, you know, you could still smoke, so there was so much smoke, like you literally couldn't see in front of your face, and I, you know, quit smoking about a year ago, so I've been feeling so good. Couldn't sleep, woke up with a splitting headache. So I've actually been up for forever today. That's why I was, for me, it's already dinner time.
Is it for you because, well, you were saying you played for the first time. I can imagine that the build-up to, well, playing your first gig can be, well, extremely tensionable. Yeah. And now it must be some sort of relief. Maybe you feel tired now. Or?
Well, yeah. I mean, but really, to be frank, I've just not been able. You know, haven't had a chance to sleep because we were, well, you know, I was working in New York up until a week ago. Flew home to LA from New York, practiced for a week, got on a plane, came here, did press. So it's just like, you know, some people can do that sort of thing, I guess. No problem, but I'm not, I've never been a good traveler, and, you know, and I'm also not like a guy who feels comfortable playing live, so...
Why, how come?
You know, to me, just one thing has nothing to do with the other. I mean, for some people, I think it does, but for me, you know, I enjoy recording music, and that's, you know, what I've been doing for many years, and just, you know, for my own pleasure, and so, occasionally I would play gigs, but really, it's just a totally different muscle, you know, it's a different ambition, I think. I don't think of myself as, you know, a great player, but I think that I have a predilection and a pretty good sense of how to orchestrate things and arrange and edit them, frankly. And so it's difficult for me to feel like what I've done on stage has anything to do really with what I've recorded. I mean, it implies sort of maybe what I've done, but it's not, to me, the same thing, you know?
But maybe you can grow into it. I don't know, this is your first time, maybe within a few years then.
Oh, I've done it before. I mean, I had to do it with my last record, and, you know, and in fact, the reason I ended up recording this record, in fact, was just because some studio time opened up, and I just sort of nixed the live act I was doing to promote the I mean, the last record came out, and I guess it was June or something of '09, and by July I was already recording the next record because, you know, that's just what I like to do, and you know, studio time opened up, and there's actually a longer story as to why that happened, but you know, we played, I don't know, 4 gigs or whatever, but, you know, and I used to try and play, and I had a band in the 90s, but again, it's just not, it's just, you know, it's like the same, I don't do plays as an actor, you know, I don't like, you know, being in front of an audience, you know, it's just not something I like to do.
Why, how come? Do you know? It's just...
I think that some people enjoy being in front of an audience. I think, you know, I think probably the vast majority of people in the world don't. You know what I mean? I'm sure if you got 100 people, I would guess that probably 95% of those people, you know, would feel really uncomfortable in front of you know, an audience. And, you know, I'm one of those people. I mean, the music, like, I make music almost every day. I record something and put it up on a blog, or you know, make a tape recording or whatever. But that's like a very, you know, it's a very kind of personal sort of experience. I would love nothing more than to feel great about doing it. I mean, that would make me I'd be thrilled to be able to do it, and I'd also be thrilled to be able to have, you know, for it to sort of to view it as its own thing rather than trying so hard to sort of have it be a similar experience. I mean, there were moments last night that are great that the records, you know, that I've recorded don't have, you know, and in fact, I learned a few things about myself when I was doing promoting the last record, and actually tried to incorporate that into this record. So this record has more of a live vocal phrasing than the one I did before. The one I did before was a little bit more sort of studied, and this was a little bit more, you know, sort of trying to kind of get across that kind of live experience a little bit. So I've definitely learned from doing it, and I think you can take elements from what you do live. But, you know, just, I don't have a band, so I don't have a band, you know, so I don't have people to play with all the time, and I don't have places to play. So when I've had to do this, it's been very fast and trying to figure out a way, and it's different, I think, than when you have a band.
What do you like especially about, well, creating and making music in the studio? What is the best thing for you?
I mean, to me, it's very similar to the sensations that pleasure that I've gotten making movies. I've directed a couple movies, and you know, in those instances, to me, it's sort of about trying to evoke a mood, I guess, trying to reflect a state, you know, rather than necessarily telling a story or, you know, communicating a message necessarily, though I think that that's part of it. But for me, the pleasure I get is you know, creating an atmosphere and it's just a very sort of visceral kind of thing, you know. It just seems like an extension of how I kind of experience things, you know. When I see things, I see them as pictures or moving images, and when I hear sounds, I hear them as elements of a larger soundscape or something, you know. And so music to me kind of just feels like kind of an integration or one aspect of that kind of way that I experience, I guess, the world, maybe.